Morning, everyone. Welcome to Church at Home.
So good to see you this morning. If you come here every week, great to see you. If you are new, I'm very excited to see you
Absolutely.
as well. We love newbies around here, and there are so many ways that you can connect into this place, more than just on a screen. So we have, what do we have going on? Active groups that do
Basketball,
running, basketball, netball, riding. So
Yeah.
much happening if you like being fit, keeping fit.
We've got life groups.
Life groups, I love life groups. Ways to do life with people around your age or not around your age.
Yeah, just meeting people's
Eat
homes.
food,
Just
talk
study.
about Jesus. Young adults, our
Yep.
favourite. Definitely. What are we doing in young adults?
Tomorrow night we're doing 10-pin bowling. Yes. With the prime timers, which are the 60 pluses. So it's going to be good.
So it's going to be on. Not only will it be good to socialise, but
Competitive.
we will see who is better at bowling.
Yeah.
Young adults or prime timers. I'm very excited.
We shall see. Information on all of those things and more is all on the app.
Am I allowed bumpers?
Yeah, you can have bumpers. We'll put bumpers up
I
for everyone.
definitely need
So it's
bumpers.
fair.
Great.
Yeah. We've also loved being generous here. Some more info on that in the app as well. But thank you to everyone who gives week in and week out. You help to run those ministries that help connect people in, which we love. We love hanging out with everyone. So thank you for your generosity, and you can use the details through the details below or using the app.
Yep.
Either of those for good.
So good. And while you're on the app, you should check out our prayer wall, which is a great place. Everyone in our community can post their prayers. They can post anonymously or have their name on there.
Yep.
So people around the place can be praying for you, and you can be praying for anybody. It's really quite a special thing. And you can also ask for confidential prayer on the app as well. There's a separate button for that where you can submit a prayer form. So just the prayer team is praying for you.
Not everything needs to go up on a wall.
Yeah.
But some things should.
Some things should, but not everything. And we get that.
Absolutely, that's great. I'd love to pray with you guys throughout the week.
Yeah.
We've also got HOA conference. So this is a conference that's normally up in New South Wales or Queensland, but for the first time, we get to host it.
Yep.
The whole
Here,
conference.
in Seaford.
Gateway, Seaford. It's amazing. So it's a chance to just get together with all the churches in our network, just be encouraged by great worship, got incredible speakers lined up. But head to the app, but it's going to be October 22nd and October 23rd.
Yep.
There's going to be a major discount as well off the full conference price. The Gatorites,
Yep.
that's you. So make sure you get there and yeah, we'd love to see you. I'm going to be there for both days.
And if you're working, you can pop in at night and
there's
see
night sessions.
the speakers and network with people from all around Australia. It'll be so good.
Yeah,
I'm really keen.
don't miss it. It's crazy that we get to host it. So
So be there or be
Yeah.
square. Yeah. Today we have a special parenting panel from our Impress series, and we've got some incredible parents all sharing their wisdom from throughout the years. They all have different aged children, so it's really cool to hear their wealth of knowledge. So stay tuned, keep watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you then.
Let me introduce our people. Tree, who has 3 girls who are, you tell people their age.
13, 11 and 9.
Right, so you're right in the middle of it.
Preteen girls.
Yeah, Sean,
13 and 19.
13 and 19, 2 girls. Sean's one of our elders, great guy. Wife Mandy over here. Tree's husband, Josh, down here. And
Oh, Trav.
your Trav. I'm thinking Kirsty, his wife over
She
here.
should be up here, not me.
Yeah.
So we've got a daughter who's 11 and a son who's 7.
And thank you. And I just want to acknowledge we don't have a single parent on our panel today. We could have had, certainly there are incredible single parents in this church. But I just want to acknowledge how incredible I think people who are doing this on their own.
100%.
And all, respect and honour. Definitely. So this series has been about not just good parenting, but how we impress faith, which we think is incredibly valuable. I hope you would agree, on the next generation. So my first question is this, and it's one that St. John posed on the first week of this series. What is the line, if there is one, between brainwashing our kids with Christian faith and impressing faith on them? The line between those two. Tree, how about you start?
Nothing like a light start to the morning, hey? For me, it came down to 2 words. One is curiosity. I think allowing them to be curious and ask questions and go back and forth on the faith and explore, like acknowledging that there are other religions out there. Not everyone, we can tend to live in a bit of a church bubble, but, not everyone has a faith, and what does that look like for them? And, having that back and forth with them. But also the other word for me is relationship. For me, indoctrination or, brainwashing, it's about control and behavior. Like, you do this because you're going to be a good Christian or whatever that is. But I think impressing faith is about introducing them to Jesus and allowing them to find their own relationship with him. And then everything follows from that anyway.
Mm. Sean, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it differs depending on the age that your children are. I suppose impressing faith or discipleship, when they are younger, you obviously play a more conscious role. You're always playing a conscious role, but it's more intentional. Whereas as they get older, I think it's around, I think the key thing for me around discipleship versus indoctrinating is patience and endurance, I suppose, right? It's about bringing them along on the journey, making sure that they understand, and again, to Tree's point, that there is an openness for questions and curiosity rather than forcing something.
Great. Yeah. Travis, was there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think for me, the difference between the two is how many people are contributing to the conversation. So I used the example earlier around, so my dad grew up in a staunch Catholic family back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And for him, for his dad who came out from Ireland, staunch, it was like, well, if you don't come to church with us on the weekend, you can't borrow the car to play cricket the next day or whatever it is. It was very much aligned with, you have to do this to get that. So it actually had the opposite effect and pushed my dad away from the faith entirely. So if it's just a one-way conversation the whole time, it's just telling, as Tree was, so it's no choice, no nothing, it's just telling. Whereas if it's a two-way conversation, you're actually talking through stuff. You're letting them have the opportunity to ask questions, to ask why, to challenge your beliefs, and really help them to ground their own thing. Because as parents, and we consistently talk about it at the stage, but definitely in youth and in God's Zone, we want our kids to have their own faith. So if we're just telling, they're going to grow up as a mini version of me to an extent and either rebel or just essentially be me and not themselves. Whereas if you've got a two-way conversation, they can challenge that and grow themselves. I think that, to me, is how many people are contributing to that conversation.
So wise. So here's a difficult one. I think everyone that's had parents have gone through this. What do you do when your kids decide they don't want to come with you to church? And at what
Drag them.
age is that often? At what age is that often an issue?
I mean, it's not a very deep or spiritual answer, but we get slushies after church just for positive association.
Wait,
Slurpees.
they're in this room. Don't give away your secrets.
Do you know what though? We actually got that from Josh's family because they had a thing where they would always go and get ice cream after church, and it became like a family tradition. And it just had
that bribery. We call that positive
association.
association.
Yeah, that's what it is. No, but the other thing that I like to bring up to my kids, and giving them choices in it, and not being like, well, you have to go to church, like you were saying with your grandfather. But like if they're not feeling like going to God's Zone for one particular morning, or they're just not, in that space. Okay, well, do you want to come into big church with us? And if you come into big church, you can take notes. So, like Indy will take notes on the phone.
What you're saying there is a really important aspect of parenting. My grandchildren were leaving yesterday, and my grandson didn't want to go. He was starting to arc up. So his dad said to him, Jad, we're going. Would you like me to carry you or would you like to walk?
Yeah.
So he was giving him a choice, but he was going to do what he was told either way.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying there is still allowing the kids to have some sense of choice in it.
Yeah, that's
it's
it.
very smart parenting.
Yeah. And the other thing that we always bring up is, we have this beautiful group of friends within church that are so close that are our family and our kids love. They're like, second parents to our kids, Beth and Ricky and Jacob and Beth and so many others. And, we say to our kids, well, who do you love? Who builds into your world? Who do you love? Who loves you? And they say all those people. And we go, well, that's a result of us investing in this community. You know, church isn't just something we go to because we have to on a Sunday. It is our family. This is our family of God that we invest in, and that's why we have the beautiful people in our world that we have. So, yeah.
Yeah, just before I hear from you two, Craig's wife Linda was telling me the other day, if you hadn't noticed, we've got this prayer wall over here that we've been inviting people to add names to over the last couple of weeks of children that we want to be praying for. And Linda was telling me that her daughter was looking at that because she wanted to go and see if her name was on there. Now, she expected that her mum and dad would have put her name there, so she saw that, but then she counted and there were 3 or 4 other places where her name was up there. So as a kid of, she's 12? Yeah. Understanding that there are other people in this community that want to pray for her, that had a powerful effect on her young soul, which I thought was beautiful. Sean, what about you?
I think, it's about maintaining that fine balance. So firstly, church is what we do as a family on Sunday, right? So that's the foundation that I believe, that you've got to impress. But when that fails and when, life just batters them around, I think the key thing is trying to understand the reasons why. So, a lot of the time it's not about that I don't want to come to church. It's actually about, that there's a social problem or there's a friend problem or, something along those lines. So I think, just to take a step back and just ask those questions. And I think also, we often talk about peer pressure as being a negative thing, but sometimes peer pressure can be very positive as well, especially in a church and a Christian environment. So it's understanding, that peer pressure, if it's there, and if it's not, where is it lacking and what are the concerns?
Yeah, great. Yeah. Trav, your kids are you have 2 neurodivergent children. So, there are particular issues that your family have to deal with. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for us, church is a non-negotiable. Like, it is what it is. We're going there because we love Jesus and we love this community, and that's what we're going to do. But those who have neurodivergent, I always say neurodivergent, so I got it right today, neurodivergent kids in their lives will know that it's not always as simple as we're doing this. Now, I was talking to another parent in the previous service who came to me afterwards and was, so I didn't know this, but I was great to connect with people. And for his kids, it's well, this is the plan. This is what we're doing, and they need to know that. And that happens if it changes, they're stuffed. Whereas our kids, they like a plan, but if something, to your point, might be social issues, all of a sudden something from 3 weeks ago, someone has said something to someone who might have offended her on some sort of skerrick over here, that's come out right before you work out the door. So in those moments, we have a choice to make. I can be task mode, Trav, and break them and then take them, and then we can deal with the mess later, or we can, work through that moment, that issue in the moment. Now, that might mean we're 5 minutes late for church. Who cares? If you've taken that few minutes to sort it out and work through as a family rather than breaking them, that's one side of it. But the other side is for us is that church online has become a massive tool. So through COVID, we all enjoyed church online because we could connect. We still couldn't get that face-to-face connection. But for us, this is a priority. So we come here every single week. But there are some weeks where, you know what? It's not worth fighting this battle to get you out that door, into the car, get you to church, force you into God zone when you're not feeling it. Because that anxiety, because the kids with their autism, they've also got, both of them have elements of anxiety. And it does associate more with females. So, throw that in. But so it's as they're trying to walk out the door, if they're really gripped and they're stuck, I can either break them and deal with it, or we go, you know what? Today's not the day. But because we're not going, we are watching church online. So at 10 o'clock, I don't care what screen you're on or what you're doing, we're turning that off. That is what we're doing for the next hour. So for us, it's become a really powerful tool to still connect them in and see the message and whatnot and connect them in that way in those moments.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, then I'm going to ask you guys a question, and then I'm going to come back to you. Okay, I want you to think about what is maybe the biggest mistake you think you've made in this regard. If you had your time over again, how you'd change it. Now, what I'm going to ask you guys, and I'll get someone brave to shout out in a minute. I'll give you time to think about it.
Be very careful.
For those of you who feel that your or any of you that feel that maybe your parents have done a good job impressing faith on you, how have they done that? What have they done well, which has caused you to want to investigate faith for yourself? Okay, I'm giving you time to think about it because some of you might need some processing time. But one of you is going to answer, or there's no slushy after church. All right? Okay, biggest mistake. Trav, how about we start with you? Because I want to know something about you. I think you might have made a mistake. It's just...
Look, I'm almost Jesus, but so who's heard of the DISC profile? Everyone, DISC profile, most of the adults would have. I know Rick runs a great course here and translates them to Winnie the Pooh, so I'm definitely not a piglet. So the DISC profiles, the DISC, I can't tell you exactly what they are, but it's about task, focus, and people are the D, C, and I, and then the S is about compassion and mercy. When I do that DISC profile, every time, I've done it half a dozen or more times, every single time I come up really strong on the 3 D, C, and I, so task-focused and task-focused people, and I forgot another one. But I always come up very, very low on compassion and mercy. That's where Kirsty comes in because we need a balance, right? But for me, the reason I set that up is one of my biggest mistakes is defaulting to task mode, Trav, when we need to get stuff done. So whether it be getting on the way to church or getting to school or doing like whatever it may be, I default to those. It's like we all default to our own things, but for a lot of years, I just defaulted to, well, you know what, you're having a meltdown, that's fine, or you might be in this really stuck moment. Let's break you and we'll deal with it later. And that's what I was experienced before is that, but I've had to learn that's not healthy because 9 times out of 10, when I break you and go, Kirst has to deal with the fallout later, because often it is like I break them, get in the car, Kirst takes them to school as another meltdown while I'm off at work. Yeah. So like that's one thing. And it's not healthy either. You don't want to be known when their parents go, Dad always broke me and never actually cared. So that was one big mistake. But the thing that I've learned over the years is that I know I've got an insecurity with people. So I always have this insecurity of what other people think of me and how I parent. And I was a constant battle with Jesus. But one of the things that I've had to really unlearn, and again, Kirst should be up here, not me, but Kirst has helped me learn, apart from the mercy and compassion, is that the way your kids behave isn't always a reflection of you as a parent. And I've had to grasp that. So a lot of times I would act as a parent out of fear and shame of what potentially other people would think of me as a parent, or my parents looking at me and going, well, we didn't do that with you, you're doing it wrong. And I've had a lot of battles with that. So they're the two things the 2 biggest mistakes is parenting out of my default and parenting out of fear and shame.
Trav, I love what you said about, you're learning from Kirsty to battle against the natural way that you would parent. And it's interesting how often as if there is a man and a woman if you are lucky enough to have 2 parents, we can often think, okay, I can be this, I can be the hard one because the soft one will make up for it, and we can sometimes sit in those roles. But I was talking to someone after the first service who's now a single dad. His marriage broke up. He was always the hard guy. He was the bad cop, wife was the good cop. But he said when his wife was no longer on the scene, it took him years to re-establish his parenting so that he wasn't being the bad cop to his kids all the time. He had to learn to be both. And he said it's really important, even if you do have 2 people in a parenting job, that you don't just say, well, I'll do this and they'll do that. I thought that was a very interesting insight. Sean, what about you?
Yeah, well, it's just to add on to what you were saying there, I think, that's the key thing while we sit up here. Parenting's hard. It's, and it's a major responsibility not only on parents, but also, adults that are impressing faith and on the younger generation. So, and I think the key thing is, for me, when I reflect on what is my biggest mistake, I was looking for a single event. Couldn't find one because it happens often, right? So for me, it is definitely my patience or lack of it. But at the same time, that's something easy for me to recognize because it's something that I grapple with God with every single day, right? And I think this is if I have one bit of, advice for myself and for others, is that we are all flawed. Right. We don't always have the answers. And I think it's key, especially when your kids get older, my kids know that I'm impatient. They know, but it's to bring them along on that journey and let them know and realize that I'm struggling with this, and I need God's grace every single day in my life to direct me on this.
So do you often apologise to your kids?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, yes. I've got a smile over there, so that is hopefully an acknowledgement. But yes, absolutely. And this is the thing, right, on self-reflection. At the time, your patience might wear thin, but on self-reflection and also, again, just, when you're reflecting and you're spending time with God, you know that, he'll push, he'll push that point. And that's where you've got to share that journey. And I think that's my point. You've got to share the journey with the kids, because guess what? They're going to be faced with the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Tree, I know you're perfect. But...
For me, I was very similar to Sean in that I was like, no, for me, it's how many my mistakes and failures are like a daily thing. Yeah. And it's that constant looking back and going, I did not do that well, and not in a, beating myself up way, but like, I'm going to try and do better with that. And the other thing I was thinking about is like, gosh, our kids are mirrors. Sometimes I'll have these moments where I go, oh, where did that attitude come from? And then I'm like, oh no, that's come from me. That is directly something I would say, or an attitude that I had as a teenager and probably still comes out as an adult. And I guess for me is like also letting my own junk or my own stuff or how I'm feeling in that moment. I don't know, I find as the mum, and this isn't always the case, but I think because I'm the one that Josh works often early in the morning, so I'm the one who sort of is around when we're getting ready for school and stuff, I think my mood can set the tone of the house. And so if I get up and I'm in a mood and things aren't going the way I want, or people, like the kids are, I don't know, making a mess or doing whatever when I'm trying to get them out the door, I find my mood can set, I notice them go one by one, the mood spreads. So for me, it's that, not letting my own feelings and crap rule me and set that tone in the morning.
Isn't it a fine balance? Sean, you're talking about being vulnerable and real with your kids, and you can be vulnerable and real, but you're also the parent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. It is. It's such a balance. And I think that's the thing with so much of parenting, is a constant balance. It's that don't go too far this way, don't go too far this way. Finding somewhere in that middle, in the grey, and the
awesome.
The balance.
Awesome. All right, let's hear from this lot over here. Would anyone like to answer that? Give us an answer to that question. What do you think your parents might have done well to encourage you to find faith for yourself? Thank you, Charlotte. Can you stand up so we can hear you? Oh, that would be great. We'll give you a mic.
For me, I was just reflecting and thinking about how there's never once been a time where we were denied an opportunity. So if there were ever any church camps that we were aware of, or youth group, or if we wanted to join youth band, the answer was always yes. And like specifically my mum would always provide a way to get us there. And I'm thinking about when James had last year a camp he wanted to go on, and then immediately after went to Camp No Fear. It's just, we're always provided that opportunity, and then when we come home we talk about it and we're able to have regular conversations that just provide us so much opportunity to work through it ourselves and really develop that ourselves. And I feel like if we were denied those opportunities of us curiously searching for answers on our own, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah, well done. Thank you, Charlotte. Is there maybe one other who would like to offer an answer to that? Yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I was thinking about mistakes, and I think when my parents admitted their mistakes and apologised, that taught me more than anything else. It taught me that I don't need to be afraid of my own failures. And I turned 16, I got my learners. My dad took me for my first drive on a 38-degree day, and I popped the tyre, and Oh, he was so angry at me and had to change it in the heat. And I've never heard him so angry. We got home, he didn't talk to me for about 2 days. And then I got home from school and there was a letter for me on the kitchen bench, and I looked at it and it had 8 tickets to get driving lessons. And it had a big letter apologising, and it said, "Dear Bethany, I'm so sorry for the way I treated you and spoke to you. I shouldn't talk to you like that, but you need to do these 8 lessons before I take you out again." So it taught me that mistakes are okay and I don't need to be perfect, and his mistakes taught me more than the things he did right.
Yeah, so good. So good. You know, and I was thinking about my own parents, and really the reason that I love Jesus today is because I just watched them. I just watched them do life, and church and community was a non-negotiable for us as we grew up, and I am so grateful for that, as I'm sure many of you here are as well. Proverbs 13:24 says, in some versions, "Spare the rod, spoil the child." But the Message version says, "A refusal to correct is a refusal to love. Love your children by disciplining them." What do you think is godly discipline? Everyone go, ooh.
My kids will say that discipline, this is when Dad will kick in. I think, you know, as adults or society, let alone kids, we need boundaries, right?
Yep.
And for me, both Mandy and I want the best for our kids. And through what we've learnt and what we that we learn in the Bible, it says that, you know, while we have free will, there are these lessons and boundaries that are imparted on us that God has left us, right? So there's wisdom in that. So for me, it is definitely because I want the best for my kids and because I want them to thrive when our jobs are done one day, it is really our responsibility to try and make sure that they understand what those parameters are, where they can be curious, where they can be just left to their own devices, but the skill sets, the discipline for me brings the skill sets for them in later life. So it's so important.
Yeah, beautiful. Anyone want to add something?
I think it comes back to that balance thing as well. There's no discipline. You can't discipline without love. Yep. But you also can't love without discipline. Like they need to work together. You need both, because if it's all lovey-dovey and no discipline, then they don't learn resilience or boundaries or, those skills for life, and can grow up to be jerks, to be honest. And, if it's all discipline and no love, then there's that, the element of self-esteem and rebellion, and it's just not good for their souls. And I think that's the key, is they need to feel unconditionally loved, but also know what are our family, boundaries? What are our guidelines? What are our, these are non-negotiables? And how do we conduct ourselves? And, for us, with a lot of things, we're quite strict as parents. We try and, but we always try and give them a why, like with phones and devices and screen time and stuff, we're quite, on the conservative side of that. But then in life and in, we've built a giant water slide in our garden, and they can climb trees, and they can take risks and have a lot of freedom in some areas of their life. But in things where we think, no, this is important and this is why we choose this as a family, it's like, they know, our kids know what our boundaries are and what the expectations are, and why.
Yes, that's what I think is so important.
Why is the key.
Give them the why.
Yeah.
They may not accept it, but you've given it to them.
And even in the moments where you are disciplining them and they're in trouble or whatever, however you want to put it, is going, I often say to them, if I didn't love you so much, I wouldn't care how you're behaving. You know, I'm only correcting you and disciplining you because I care so much and I want you to be the best you can be. And the way that you're behaving now is not the best you can be. So it's that, yeah, it is. It's giving them the why and the love in the, not that, but, you know,
Some of you
in the
may
harsh
have
moment.
heard of Jordan Peterson. He's a
I love him.
Canadian, what is he? He's a psychologist, I think. Yeah. And he said this, he said, don't allow your children to do things which will cause other people not to like them.
Yeah.
And I thought it's incredible. I mean, I don't want to be so tied up that, you know, you were saying before that it's all about how people perceive you. I don't want my kids to reflect badly on me with their behaviour, but if people don't like them, then it's going to reflect on the way they interact with them, and before you know it, they're not going to enjoy being part of a community because, those people don't like me. I've never thought of it before. Don't let your children do things that will cause other people to not like them. And I think we're talking about being jerks.
Yeah.
That's a mantra in our house. Don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk.
So much is covered by just don't be a
That
jerk.
should be in the Proverbs.
I
Don't
know,
be
right?
a
I'm
jerk.
sure it is
I'm
somewhere.
sure it is.
Message version.
So a couple.
The issue of discipline with your kids.
Yeah, I think task mode, Trav, comes out pretty quickly, and that's where I've had to really learn to not operate in that space. I think there's a couple of things I've needed to learn in that space. Number one is that every child is different. Now, that sounds pretty obvious, but it can be really easy to go, well, it worked for that child, let's do it for that child. Now, any parent will know with multiple kids knows that doesn't work. And anyone who has multiple neurodivergent kids will know that's on the next level, it doesn't work. So that's number one is for me, is had to learn that what works for Zach won't work for Chloe. But what worked for Chloe today won't work tomorrow. So, it depends on where she is, and same with Zach. And I can be more playful with Zach because he's a young fella growing up, but I have to be more sensitive to Chloe because she's more wired like Kirst. So, that's one thing I've had to learn. I think the other thing with godly discipline in my eyes is that you need to let them live with the consequences. So what I mean by that is, okay, they might run across the road so we had an example recently. So a young fella, he tends to run in car parks. So you'll notice that we park literally right here every single time. We've got the disabled permit because he will run. We were three car parks away from karate in Somerville, and it was raining and he gets sensory overloaded. He just ran right behind a four-wheel drive with the reversing screen, but she didn't see him because he was ducking like this, and Kirst had to run behind it to stop the car. So she's putting her life in danger at that moment. So where was I going with that? I said living with the consequence. In those moments, you've just got to go bang. So this is not acceptable, mate. The consequence living with that is obviously, hospitalisation or something. But that's in a moment of you've got just a hard rod moment that you can't do that. But there's other things that you go, you know what? I'm going to leave you the choice to make mistakes here, but you have to live with these consequences. I'm not going to save you. So we've had examples where Chloe will take trading cards to school, and rather than I did as a kid, I took a heap of marbles to school one day without telling my parents and lost them all and cried to them. They're like, we told you to take 6. Why'd you take 26?
Yeah.
So with Chloe, she's such a generous human being that she's trying to help these people, and she thought she was trading, but she actually came home with one card after all these cards. And we had to let her sit in that.
Yeah.
And the further consequence is we're not buying them for you anymore because we've warned you. But it's just we're not saving you from this consequence. We'll talk you through it, we'll help you through it, we'll help you process it. But if we come in and save the day, they haven't learned a thing. And so there's an act of discipline by not doing anything at all.
That spills into exactly what I wanted to finish with. Jonathan Haidt, who is an incredible social psychologist, has just written a book called The Anxious Generation. And he has basically said that our kids have fallen out of practice with how to do relationships well. Now, that's based on the couple of years of COVID that we had and the use of social media. And also, he's saying that overprotective parents and this socially alienating technology have left kids with almost no conflict management skills. So he speaks in this new book, he talks about 3 trends, worries that he has for this generation of kids. One is fragility. They often talk about the lack of resilience. It's like the immune system. We need adversity to develop resilience. So facing challenges is good for kids, which is what you were saying, Trav, that you've got to let them sit in the consequences of what's gone on. And when they face a challenge and they get over it by themselves, it boosts their confidence. So it's a really important thing. The second thing is trusting feelings. Now, I think through the 90s and the early noughties, there was very much a move to, whatever kids are saying, they feel we need to listen to that, and I think that's important. We don't deny kids' feelings, but the problem is that we've gone too far. Feelings are important, but when we prioritise and say it's all about the way you feel, then it can lead to illogical conclusions. For instance, if a child is feeling hurt because of something someone did to them, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person intended to hurt them. So we have to take them out of just their own feelings and look at the situation as a whole. That's very important for kids. And the third one, he said, is seeing life in black and white. And that's, the algorithms on our social media. They're pulling us to the extreme this side or extreme that side. And kids are seeing life as this battle between black and white instead of being able to sit with some nuance. Maybe this area is a bit grey. Maybe there isn't a black or a white on this particular issue. And this is a very healthy thing for kids to learn to see nuance in issues. So the question is, what can the church do? Why is the church important in all this? Now, forgive our lack of grammar here. How can the church help, it should say?
It hurts my soul, Marcy.
Sorry?
That grammar hurts my soul.
Oh, sorry. All right. Well, the things that the church is great at is multi-generational relationships. And last week we had the older folk sitting and doing some speed friending with some of our primary school kids, and it was just awesome. Where else can we get such a rich community with people from all sorts of diverse backgrounds, different ages, different races? All of those things are going to happen within a church, and it's incredibly healthy for our young people. And the third thing is volunteer experiences. Now, one of the things that's beautiful in this place is that there's so many opportunities, not just for us, but our children as well, to get involved in helping other people in different ways. Trav, tell us that story about Chloe.
Yeah, so on those mornings I spoke about way back when I was talking about how we get kids to church. Sometimes Chloe will come to church and she's happy to come to church. As she gets here, she gets a bit stuck between here or Godzone, because I don't really want to go to Godzone, but she's not keen on sitting here unless she's got some drawing. And if she's prepared, she'll bring it and sit here, just like you were saying before with your kids will come in here. But if we kind of at the last minute we get here, I'm not sure about Godzone today, then the team at Godzone are amazing. So if you ever have this issue with your kids of all ages, speak to the Godzone team or send to the youth team. They'll provide opportunities. But they just lovingly go to Chloe, do you want to come help us? Do you want to come upstairs and help with the babies? So downstairs with the baby, upstairs with toddlers. So she'll actually come to church and she's like, I'm not feeling it today. But they've recognised, rather than forcing you in here, kicking and screaming and whatnot, which is different when you're a 1-year-old versus an 11-year-old, rather than that or missing out entirely, how about you come and help and join in this ministry? Yeah. She's loved that and she's really connected with it.
At such a young age to step outside of herself, how can I help other people? And that's what the beauty is with the volunteer opportunities within the church. One of the last things Jonathan Haidt said is that the church is one of the last places where people of diverse backgrounds gather together regularly and in community. And it's not about rows, it's about circles. Our kids need circles. And I think that's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, I thank you, good and wise people, for your help, and I know that hopefully, we could have got so many people up who have such wisdom when it comes to parenting, but we would like to feel that the church is a village, that we are here to help one another through our hard times and our good times. But there's nothing more precious for us to impress on our kids than Jesus. That's what it's all about. Well, how about we thank them? Thanks.
So good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. Oh, you have been so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, finds still love found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. Oh, you have been so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Reckless love of There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming are good. You have plans and desires for us, and we just ask that you continue to mold us this week. You continue to love us, and we just want to live in the freedom that you offer, God. Come on, let's continue to praise. I close my eyes and colors fly. There's no hiding from your grace. I can't deny your heart for mine, and it's unrelenting chase. And I was on the edge of deception, caught up in my own hesitation, until your love took over me. Oh, so I let go and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis here awaits us, all the freedom I'll ever need. Now I'm a, come on, ooh la la, that's it, ooh la la. When I let go, then I find life. Ooh la la, ooh la la. When I let go, then I find life. Ooh Lord, ooh la 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 la. When I let go, then I find life. The higher way is calling me to a life unlike before. The Father's heart is beckoning, and I can't resist no more. And living in the ways of devotion, I don't wanna get caught in the motions. My heart is only for you, Lord. So I let go and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis here awaits us, all the freedom I'll ever need. Now I'm alive. Ooh la la, ooh la la. When I let go, then I find life. Ooh la la, ooh la la. When I go, then I find life. Come on. La 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 la. When I let go, then I find life. Oh, oh, oh. So I let go and I let love show me life like it's supposed to be. An oasis here awaits us, all the freedom I'll ever need. Now I'm alive. Ooh. When I let go, then I find life. When I let go, then I find life. La 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 la. When I let go, then I find life. Ooh la la, ooh la la. When I let go, then I find life. Ooh la la, ooh la la. When I let go, then I find life.
When I look back, I can see your hand all over my past. Even in the times I'd rather forget, I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. You never let go. Thought I was alone, now I know you were close. I can see it now, you were bringing me home. I just can't believe you'd love me like that, love me like that. Every day gets better when I'm walking with you. Oh, you're my hope forever left me. You always helped me. Got through the fire.